Welcome everybody. Happy Festive Friday. This is an exciting day. We have a lot of festivities going on today. If you've got some Santa hats, if you've got elf ears, whatever, a Festivus pole, however you choose to celebrate, go ahead and show that off on camera in the chat. Tell us what you're doing for the holidays. Rest and relaxation is a perfectly valid answer. Going on do not disturb, don't talk to me. That's totally valid. But welcome to everyone. We're gonna get started like pretty much right away because there is so much to cover in this one. I know Allie's chomping at the bit to just jump into it. So I'm gonna share the deck. Festive Fridays. We have one more Friday this year. We'll cover that at the end. But thanks for jumping in today. Um, this is the first little announcement that we have. Scheduled maintenance December 20th, 6 to 7 p.m. Hopefully, not a lot of people are online, but if there are any mild disruptions, they'll be very temporary. So just be aware of that if you're using the API for anything that happens kind of asynchronously or anything. Ali, is there anything you'd add to that?
There should be literally no impact, I say with hesitation, but just calling it out if things are just a little bit slower. It's just some infrastructure upgrades that the team's going to be conducting.
Yeah, cool. So just be aware. Education adoption. We're gonna cover some new things here. This is our roundtable schedule. I think pretty accurate. We're gonna stick to these dates. So February, March, we'll see if anything needs to change. But January 7th, the link is open for that now. You can go RSVP for the January roundtable, January 7th at 1 p.m. Eastern. So I think Kelsey's going to throw that in the chat. Stop what you're doing for 10 seconds, just go RSVP. If you have any issues with the link, any autocomplete, anything like that, just send us a message and we'll get you registered. No big deal. Um, Want to cover this off. We've shared the updates about the new course, the AI Navigator course, the quick AI skills. Hats Champion has been around for a while. But where do they fit into your internal adoption, and where do they fit into your clients' adoption? This is how we pretty much recommend going through these courses at the moment. The AI Champion course really sets the foundation, baseline AI IQ, get everyone on the same page about what's an LLM, what's natural language, basics of prompt engineering, basic preview of strategic adoption, and then you move into the navigator, which is literally just how to use hats. So if you've gone through previous trainings, recommend going through this. You can get through the whole thing in under 2 hours. And then quick AI skills will be always updated with new short videos. Lots more coming after today's update. So that's what we recommend. Use case workshops. If you're working on anything in the workshop, you got apps, workflows, agents, and you just want another set of eyes on them. If you're trying to use a new integration and you need help prompting it, configuring a phone agent, which is easier now than ever. Ali will show you how that's happening. That's what these are great for. So just come with some use cases to these. Please take advantage of these. It's free time with the team. And we'll get the link for those if Kelsey's on it. I love it. Um, this was part of our Hatsmiths. I think it was day 10, day 9 and 10. We released an LLM guide. A lot of you were asking for it as we released so many new AI models, or we added so many new models to the platform over the last quarter that we went from like 30 something to almost 60. The term analysis paralysis came up a lot. Well, how do I tell my clients which ones to use? The reality is that the newest ones are all pretty good at a lot of the business use cases. There's not a ton of distinction. So you're safe if you use any of those featured models. But we did put together an LLM guide if you want to read more, if you want to share that with your clients. And you can also take this quick little quiz. It says 2 minutes, but it's like 10 seconds. It's linked in that LLM guide. You can just take the quiz, have a use case in mind. Oh, I want to, talk to my SharePoint to get some information and then create an email. Like have a use case, right? And go through that, and it'll recommend the best one for you. You can also watch how I built this. I've never written a real, authentic, legitimate line of code in my life, and I should not, and I will not. And I did all of this, it's like 1,000 lines in hats. You can watch that process on YouTube, and the whole thing took like 10 minutes. So really cool. There's a lot going on this page, but go check that stuff out. And my last slide, breezing through this so we can get into the real good stuff. My last slide is stay up to date with the new feature updates, our new feature alerts. They come out every week. It's documentation, demo videos, some use case ideas about all of the cool new things that we released the previous week. The reason we do that is because of what Ali's going to walk us through. There's so much new content coming every week. So Ali, I'm going to turn it over to you. Let's hear what's going on the engineering side.
Yeah. Welcome everybody to Festive Friday. We have a ton to walk through today. A lot of updates, a lot of new improvements. And the really cool thing about this one is that these updates and improvements are super specific to be partner facing. So a lot of times, we release new features and we go through integrations and all sorts of things to help your end customers kind of get to where they need to be. But something that we gathered a lot of feedback on, and we from sales and through support, and even just through our mission here at Hats to best support our partners, we decided to kind of, for the last day of Hatsmiths, give a big revamp to the admin view, and then a few other features that we'll kind of click into. But I just really wanted to highlight this release was really for our partners, not just our partners, that get on here every Friday or join use case workshops or connect with us via Lark Meeper. We couldn't be more appreciative, but especially too for our partners that provide really great feedback for what would help them, better support their customers, for what will that help them leverage AI better. So we just really wanted to call that out here as kind of a highlight. This release is really to help give you visibility, to help you identify upsells, and to really help give you a view of the usage of not only your own internal team, but all of the end customers and tenants that you have currently in the platform that will continue to bring on through the end of the year, and that will come through next year. So, yeah. So basically, our update today, right, reflects that commitment to our MSP partners. We hear you. We know how excited you are to not only leverage AI internally, but also to get your customers leveraging AI. And we know that the best way we can help you do that is, not only through these educational sessions or resources or training, but really giving you visibility into how your customers are leveraging the platform, and kind of helping to make that management and that view as easy as possible. So that was really the focus of this release and kind of what our engineering team has been working towards. um, I would say probably for the last quarter. This is a big one as we kind of go through it, and it's going to continue to be our motto and our driving factor into the new year.
Really building up to something, Ali.
Yeah. And I don't know if the sound's going to work on this, but this was, and I couldn't get it to loop, but this was at 11:30 last night. Our fearless leader and CEO, Jimmy Hatzel, um, in the middle of our release. Shout out to Kelsey and anyone. I can't remember which event we gave out these fun, sparkly cowboy hats, but whenever we have a really long day for release or for the engineering team, We like to put them on. They do light up. This video is not displaying that, but we like to put those on and have some fun through the code pushing. I'm also going to plug to check out our LinkedIn page. For those of you that were around during Integration August, you know the team lived off of McDonald's snack wraps. Yesterday, we did a really fun tasting of all different chicken sandwiches in New York City. So if there's anything you want to see the engineers eat when we spend 20 hours a day in the office on Thursdays on a big release, comment and let us know.
And if the sound's not coming through, Jimmy, or he just says, all in a day's work at 11:30.
Alrighty.
It's good stuff. All right.
Okay, so let's get into the good stuff. Let's meet the new admin dashboard. So what do you need to know? It's faster, it's cleaner, there's more data, and it's easier to manage your tenants. This view right now is currently for admins and
Sure.
primary admins. Um, like I said, in that admin dashboard view, you've asked for usage metrics, you've asked for usage reporting, you've asked for better visibility. And this is kind of our first step in delivering that. So we are going to walk through step by step what the different components look like, what the reporting features look like. And then there will be complex documentation on this on the docs page today. But if you've logged into the HATS platform this morning, which I'm sure a lot of you have, you've probably seen this in admin. And again, I'm going to say it one more time. This is in admin. Alrighty. So let's start with the dashboard view. So if you log into the admin portal this morning, you clicked in and you saw this incredibly beautiful usage dashboard with tons of data about your internal tenant and all of your tenants. High level here, and like I said, we're going to click into it. What I really want to call out is usage, usage, usage. You want to know what your customers are using, what your team is using, what they're doing. This dashboard page, which has replaced the old dashboard view, is going to be kind of your starting point, right? We're going to look at credit usage trends. Who are our builders? Who are our users? Some phone reporting. When are we using the platform? What workshop items are we using? What LLMs are we using, right? So this view is really going to give us that, what are we doing kind of view. Alrighty. And let's start with the first tab. So when we're in the admin dashboard, and we're going to look at the first window on the view, we're going to look at some usage trend reports. And I want to just call out what each of these are super quickly. Like I said, we have a lot to cover today, but any questions or anything that come up, please feel free to populate the chat. Even though the engineers probably haven't slept in 24 hours, they are on. So if I can't assist with the question, they will. But let's jump in. So that first credit usage trend report we have, right? When are credits used? What day? What time? How long? Right? That's our first report. Our second report, input credits, input tokens versus output. So input is what you're putting into the LLM. Output is what it's producing. Uh, you could have super low input and super high output if, say, you're doing something like image generation or document generation or something where maybe you're putting in just a little bit of information or just a little bit of work to get a lot more. Um, and the reverse could be you could have, a lower output and a super high input. We could think of if we're uploading a bunch of documents or things to summarize and get a more condensed view, right? That's going to show us our input versus our output. And then we also have our, when and where credits are used. So are we using them in chat? Are we using them in agents? Are we using them in workflows? And we have these beautiful, nice and colored graphs designed by our designer, Georgina, to make it visually appealing for your team. And also, these are things you could hypothetically, grab a screen grab of and use in reporting. So we really wanted to give you not only the data, but a visually pleasing way to use it and view it. So, Mark, we can go to the next. And in that little tab, so you'll see kind of this is one widget here with like a little tabular component. You'll also see we have phone reporting here. So the total call minutes, again, we're looking at it by date, calls per day, and then the average call length. This is in one of our test orgs that we don't necessarily test the phone agent with as much. So, our point seven, our 7 second call length, is not accurate. So send us yours if you have a better visual, because we didn't play with the phone as much this month. But
I mean,
let's
it is accurate. We don't really use it. It's very precise too, but it's not very filled out. So yours will look different if you're using the phone agent for sure.
It'll
Um,
look better.
yeah.
Alrighty. Then we're going to click into a few other components here as well. So one that I really want to highlight, that I thought was really interesting, was the power users versus the power builders. Um, and this one's really key. And this was a gap that we felt like we had, in visibility and reporting for our partners. Because, right, Mark and I are probably a really good example of the difference between a builder and a user. Mark's probably both, but our power builders, those are people that are building workflows, building automations, right? They might not be using as many credits, but they're kind of the foundational backbone, right? Maybe for what they're providing to the rest of your team. So that's important to know. For me, I would say as an MSP partner, who is that power user in terms of building? Who's producing, what the rest of the organization is using? Because they might actually be different than our power users. So they may not be using as many credits, logging in and building those workflows, but that's still a key person, that you would want to identify as you're working with your customers, to help them grow their AI usage. So that builders versus users, super impactful metric. Again, these are our test orgs, so ours are only displaying one, and one and two, but this will show the top five, for your power users and your power builders. Going from there, last week we talked a lot about LLMs. There's tons of models in the platform. Mark put out that great, quiz for which LLM should I use. We're working on getting even more LLM documentation for the team. We had our LLM guide. So this top models is really helpful for figuring out, what are your customers using? What are your internal teammates using? And it may just be that they're all just using the default model, and everyone's just using one. And maybe, that's an area where you can jump in and send them the LLM guide, or explain the power of, not just using OpenAI models or not just using, Google models. So that top models is also a great call out. And then we have these awesome, little widgets too. And again, don't judge my test org data. But we have, number of active users, workflow runs, app runs, API calls, chat engagements, you name it. And the engineering team, has put it beautifully on this dashboard. So these, widgets, kind of the next set, extremely impactful. And again, use it in a grab a screenshot of it. Very beautiful. Grab a screenshot of it, drop it in a report, share it with your customers, share it with your team. Or we'll get into what else you can do with this data. Mark, go to the next slide. Alrighty. This is one we were very excited about too. The heat map. This credit usage heat map will display in your browser's time zone. And basically, this will show you when we're using. I will say something that we've noticed in the platform a lot is that we get a lot of our, power users and builders typically actually leveraging the platform after normal business hours. And we also get a pretty big increase in traffic on Sundays. This is a key indicator for us when we're working with someone that comes into support maybe at these times, or has some heavy usage at these times, that they're a key AI power user, right? They're taking it in their off time to build or test, or maybe it's some of you, as managers of your MSP or owners of your MSP. And these are some key people to identify that maybe they're not just using it in normal business hours, but they're going through and they're really passionate about using AI, excited to get into the platform. And then this can also be used to identify, when your team is using it the most. So this heat map, not only do we love the way it looks, we were excited about the shades of purple, but it gives a lot of cool data as well.
I want to say on this heat map, it's really cool because I'm sometimes curious in my own org, like, am I the only one who's building? I have an idea at like 11 o'clock at night, and I want to go try it. I can now go on and see. Oh no, it looks like JP was also doing some crazy stuff, in the tenant or or Jack or someone. It's pretty cool. You can now see like when everyone's active, and I just love that internally.
It's also not a bad thing to use too, to know when to maybe reach out to your customers. If you have somebody that tends to be using ads a lot on, Tuesday mornings, maybe that's when you kind of shoot them an email and ask them if they want to upgrade their package or how the onboarding's going. So yeah, alrighty. And then down at the bottom, we have this great workshop leaderboard with the three workshop items we all know and love, the top apps, the top workflows, and the top agents. And this is also will let you know the total runs, which is great and super informative. And that would be the bottom of the dashboard. Alrighty. And this is what makes it even better. So we gave this great dashboard, right? When you log into admin portal, it's the first thing you're going to see. You won't be able to miss it. But if we want to double click, we can not only export, but we can filter by date range, whether it be the last 7 days, last month to connect with the last billing people, or billing cycle, sorry, or a custom range. So if you want to see from, a tenant that you brought on August 10th, and you want to check August 10th until the end of the year, what their year in review kind of looked like, you can go ahead and filter for that too. And this is found in that top corner. And then we also have the ability to export. And I will call out here, this is still where you get the LMS data. The LMS data is not displayed in the dashboard at this time. However, you definitely are not going to lose access to that functionality. That generate LMS report button is still there by the export. And then Mark and I will talk about, we have some fun things planned for what you can do with the CSV export from the platform. I also just want to call out when you're filtering on that main dashboard view by tenant, you have the ability to select multiple tenants to view at the same time. So you can look at all tenants, a subset of tenants, or just one. We did that subset of tenants based on some feedback from our partners that, maybe you have different account managers that are managing various end customers. And this was kind of just our way of, trying to help Bob at MSP1 maybe get a full view of all of the clients that Bob wants to see. So we just wanted to call that out as well, because that was a really cool feature that the engineers kind of threw in last minute, just because sometimes we'll get some requests and support looking for usage data on 2 or 3 customers. And that, avoids having to click, click, click. Less clicks is more time back for you. So, alrighty. Now it's time to talk about the tenants tab. So we're going to leave the dashboard tab behind. We overhauled the whole admin view. So we spent some time in the dashboard, but now we're going to jump into the tenant management tab. I am extremely excited about this one as well. The view for this is so nice. And really, if as we're kind of going through, you're going to see that the team did a lot of work to kind of get rid of any information that felt repetitive or tabs that didn't feel impactful, make less clicks, more data, and just a cleaner, much faster, more modernized view of tenant management. Like we said in the beginning of the call, a lot of the feedback we got from our partners is I think or I know my customers are using the AI platform because they're using some credits, but I don't know how to get a whole view of all of my tenants and I don't know how to better help them. I need some visibility right into what they're doing. Well, this tenant management tab gives you a super great high level view of all of your tenants with the ability to search of all of your tenants, as well as what packages they're on and how many users they have. Now, I want to talk about the three metrics on the side as well. We have this login rate, which is actually one of my favorite things that we released. And that login rate is going to tell you the percentage of users that are logging in I believe it's the month time frame. One of the engineers jump in if I'm incorrect there. But that login rate is super helpful because you can see, the level of activity in terms of what percentage of users are actually logging in to help you get a really clear view of engagement platform wide for that tenant and not just based off of credit usage, right? Because we all know you can have one power user that's using a ton of credits. But this kind of helps you to see, okay, what's the overall adoption? Um, and that's paired with the credit usage. That little status bar right there, that's something that's going to be super powerful for our partners as they are identifying customers that are really using the platform a lot. So you'll see that little inactive bubble that just means that they have no credit usage within this month. But you'll see that active flag that shows that they are actively leveraging the platform. And then it will also flag if somebody is near their credit usage limit or over as an upsell opportunity. So this is really great when you're going in and you want to look at all of your tenants, daily, monthly, weekly, however you want to check in to see, oh, okay, well, maybe end customer 123 is almost at their credit usage. Well, just from right here, I can see on the high level what their login rate is. Let's say it's 100% and everybody's logging in and their usage is high. I know that that's a good opportunity to go in and either, get them on a larger package, get them leveraging the platform, or just connect with them and see how things are going. See, I see some questions here, so I'm just checking, make sure. Looks like people are jumping in. Um, Lynette, we're going to get to your question too in a second. Okay, so from that tenant management page, if you could go back, Mark, just one for 1 second. That create new tenant button, the button hasn't changed. It's in the same spot. But I want to just click into that a little bit too. So you can now create a new tenant without an initial user. So some feedback that we got from our partners is I want my end customer to log in and see the tenant with their apps or workflows or agents or whatever it may be preloaded. I want to make sure that I have full visibility and can see everything that they see. Maybe now that we have custom logo and branding. I want all of that to be done. Well, the engineers heard that loud and clear, and they completely changed the create new tenant flow so that you can now create groups, do all permission sets, all of the things you would do as an admin without having to add that initial user. So I know some MSPs were getting around that by creating a fake admin and then having to log in, and it was causing login loops or whatever maybe. That need is gone. Now you have full control of that tenant before you ever have to add a user. And another call out we talked about, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe around Thanksgiving, about the custom email templates and how when you're inviting a new user, the initial user was still going to see the old template, and then all existing users would see your custom email template. Initial users will now see that custom email template as well. And I don't want to fly through this. I feel like I'm flying through features here because there's so many. But I do just really want to highlight this was one of those things that we took a lot of feedback from partners on how we could get their end customers to adopt faster. So this not only gives our MSPs more feel and control over the tenant itself, but it kind of allows you to have that plug and play mentality where I'm bringing on a new end customer, the tenant looks right, it has what it needs in it, and then I can add the initial user. So this is one of those things, for our admins. We hope this is like a really big win. All righty, let's keep flying through. A
All right.
lot of talking from me today. Um, okay, so we talked about the tenant management page, and then now we're going to click into a specific tenant. So you'll see that beautiful new dashboard view that we all know and love um, from the tab that we just walked through. When you click into a tenant, that will be the view that you get for that tenant. So it'll be the same view that we're comfortable with, same filtering, same exporting, except it's just for the specific tenant that you're on. I do want to call out too that the tabs on the side of the screen have changed order slightly and may have some new names. But all of the data that you had previously is there, better, faster, cleaner.
Is anyone following along with this in your own admin dashboard? I see some hands. I see some thumbs.
Yeah,
All right, cool.
Shante.
Yeah,
All
cool.
right, cool.
Ali, can I just go back for 2 seconds here
Yeah,
on this?
jump in.
Just
I'm chatting away, so please jump in.
in case you're not like following along in the platform, just for like reference where we are in space and time. Um, the admin dashboard, right? This is just when you log into admin.hats.ai. There's nothing to click on, right? That this is just where you land. You land, all of these things are on one page. This is your new home page on admin. Then the tenants tab, when you click on this tenants button up on the top, that shows you this, just like how it used to have the tenant and the tenant name and the number of credits, right? This now shows you a lot more. And then I'm going to click on one of these tenants. I'm going to click into one of these tenants, and that takes me into this page. So just moving from page to page, this is how we're navigating that. We're still in that tenants tab. We clicked on a tenant, and now you have all of these left-hand tabs, and the overview is sort of that drilled down all of the metrics in the engagement report, that you could have pulled on the first page, but this is just for this tenant. So, Ali, I just wanted to cover that so everyone knows like this is where those things are in admin.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we're kind
Right.
of, oh,
I have a question right there in that area, if you don't mind. So what we see on the screenshot, should we see it? I got a different chart. Can we change the type of chart in that credit section in the top there?
yeah. Yeah. There's different tabs at the top. Mark, yeah, I don't know if you want to highlight them. So if you click through those, right, so you'll see,
See it now. I see it
Ye-
now.
yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
And Mark Huber had the same question in chat. That's a great question. The line chart is just usage. That credit in and out is the second tab, and then breakdown shows you the pie chart or circle chart. Yeah. All right, Ali.
All righty. Let's keep going. Okay, so now we're on the tenant view page. We looked at, right, that overview tab. So we're going to think of that overview tab, that dashboard, right? We love that usage dashboard. We think it looks really great. We think the data is impactful. So that's going to be your default screen. Now we're going to click into the users tab. So in the users tab, oh, sorry,
Oh,
Mark, go
sorry.
back one more.
Clicking
No,
over
that's
here.
okay. So in the users tab, not too much has changed here. We have kind of the same information, right? Name, email role, credits used, last login that they've accepted, same actions on the three dots. Just cleaner, more condensed. We don't have widgets that maybe didn't necessarily make sense, or super big cards. We had gotten some feedback from partners that they would like to see everything condensed and cleaner. We couldn't agree more. We have a wonderful UX UI designer now on the team. So she came in and helped us clean this up as well. Alrighty. Now, this is probably the most, outside of reporting, impactful part of the updates that we've made to the tenants tab. So, in the tenant workshop items page, formerly known as the apps tab, the view here should feel way more familiar for anyone that's used the Hats workshop as, in the end customer dashboard, as, the workshop um, in workshop. But basically, we put the same view, the same cards and images and tagging that you're used to in the platform from here, from the workshop items tab. There's a few reasons that we did this. The first reason that we did it was we were getting some feedback from partners that they wanted to be able to have a better view, whether that be to click in, to edit, to duplicate, to save, to favorite their end customers' workshop items. Pretty much exactly how you would interact with the workshop items. And this view in the platform is now how you will work with it in the admin dashboard. This, I also want to highlight, is super impactful for that setting up the tenant before adding the initial user, whether that be you want to make sure that there are preloaded apps, you want to edit, you want to test, you want to run, you want to duplicate, whatever you want to do from there. This view will really help our MSPs feel like they need to, sorry about that, feel like they have control. From here, I will also call out there is the ability to search, and there's also the ability to edit. So just flagging that here, part of that whole, pre-population of the tenant, but also we never want an MSP to feel like they need to create an admin user for each end customer account ever again. We want you to feel like from the admin view, you have full control and can fully support your customers and have full visibility into what they are using and building.
Allie, we have two questions. Adam had his hand up, and then Craig has a question in the chat. So, Adam.
Hi, this is Eric again. Can you hear me okay?
Eric.
I
Yes.
got to get my own invite one of these days. Sorry. Adam and I were actually talking exactly about this yesterday. We had put together maybe like 80 agents and workflows that we're going to allow our clients to just use right off the bat to get them hitting the ground running. But we're
Oh,
finding it's kind of tedious to actually get those agents and workflows deployed out to their tenants. So right now we only have 4 clients that are actively using the platform, but there will be more. And what we've been doing is because Adam and I either created the agents on our own personal account, so we would share that with our organization, and then we would go into the admin panel, this panel, find the item, share it, and then click through the clients that we want to share it to. Is there or can there be an easier way to do that, knowing that we have maybe like 80 workshop items? And the kind of second caveat to that is that we have not been creating any of these from within the admin workshop. So when we go to admin.hats.ai and we go to the workshop items there, it only lists the one that we just created because all of the other ones were created from within our personal Hats tenant. So we have to go through that like double sharing step of share it to our community and then go into the admin panel and share it to our clients. Could there be like a folder that we could put things in and share that folder with all clients, or what kind of is the future of that?
yeah, you could probably do that right now using the groups feature. I think I followed all of the steps that you were taking there. But Eric, I might want to connect with you offline on that just to get like a full breakdown of the workflow. But I do know that for like our internal test tenants, I am creating them from the admin view. So I do less creation from the customer dashboard. But I can go ahead and put that into groups. And I actually have a group for each of my test tenants, and then I just share that app or workflow to all of those groups. But let's get a very good detailed answer on how to follow that workflow, and we can share it too in the release feature release email that we send out as well, of just kind of like some best practice in management now that we have this cleaner view, and some expanded functionality. But thank you for that.
Thank you.
And I think that might also answer part of Craig's question about not seeing his customers' workshop items when he clicks into the tenant. Ali, we can take a look at that too.
Yeah. Craig sent that one over
Yeah,
too. We always follow up with these after anyway, but
yeah,
yeah, for sure.
yeah. Cool. Moving on.
Alrighty. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Um, Again, three tabs here to talk about. We've got groups, custom permissions, and organization settings. Three tabs that have not changed too much. We talked about organization settings a lot 2 weeks ago when Mark wasn't here, and we'll call that technical difficulty Friday. But we walked through how to add logos, how to change the color, default LLMs, disabling LLMs, all that stuff. So that organization settings view has not changed, but it has dropped to the bottom of the list, because logically it just made sense to put it there, as pointed out by our engineer JJ, who was going through this beautiful redesign. Custom permissions, again, nothing has really changed to the functionality. It just looks cleaner, it's easier to manage, and it just follows a more modern look. And same goes for groups. Same cards that we know, same filtering, same ability to switch between all groups, my groups, all that great stuff. Alrighty. I think it was Lynette. But I wanted to just go back to usage alerts. So something that we've kind of talked about, and if people are having usage spikes or looking to usage, something we've kind of talked about internally is not only how do we warn people that they're coming super close to their usage, but also more importantly, how do we help our MSPs know which customers are nearing the thresholds of usage, and are maybe their power user customers, or maybe you're due for an upgrade in a bigger package. Usage alert email notifications will now start sending when customers reach certain thresholds. So for right now, they are set to 75% and 100% of their limit. And this is not something where, like, when they hit 75%, you're going to get an email every single day letting you know that they've hit that threshold. No, they hit 75%, you're going to get an email. And then when they hit 100%, you will also get an email. You may have already seen some of the alerts in the dashboard, but who really wants to have to go in and check the dashboard every single day? I mean, I do, because I love the new view of the reporting. But this will also be an email sent to MSP admins. So this is kind of part of our automatic email notification, kind of how we can help our partners support their customers. So usage alerts, they're coming. Alrighty.
Sorry, Ali, there was just a quick question here
Oh,
about what happens when they reach their limit. Um, from Josh, what happens when a tenant reaches their credit limit?
yes. So when a tenant reaches their credit limit, um, as everyone knows, we do not charge you usage and you do not lose access. One of the great things about the HATS platform, right, is it's predictable. You know that if you go over your credit usage, you'll just be rate limited. And basically, what that means is that maybe some of the more expensive models or some more expensive features, you just won't have access to them. I will say that with these usage alerts, these will be good indicators to kind of help if your own internal tenant or if your end customers are nearing that rate limiting. But that's something we'll talk about a little bit more in the new year. But basically, you never lose access to the platform. You never lose access to your workflows, apps, or agents. You just maybe end up on a cheaper model, or maybe you don't have, you know, API access or something extremely complex. But you do not lose access as for the
And
questions here.
and just to sort of connect the dots before we move into the phone agent stuff, that in and of itself is never a bad thing, right? Especially with this new visibility, the engagement metrics, everything that you have to better understand how your clients are using AI. You can now say, hey, look, Meredith over in accounting is using this like crazy. Like, let's talk to her about her ROI, and it turns into an ROI conversation more than anything. And that's great. Like it's always a positive conversation. So you'll start to see what those alerts look like in the platform when you have tenants getting to that level. And we're kind of nearing the end of the month, so some of you might start to see that. But you can always reach out to your account executive to talk about, how do I frame this with my customer? And all right, let's download a report and how do I talk through that? Like happy to help you with that kind of thing for sure.
Yeah, we've got JP, Jack, Mike, Dave, Dylan, the whole team. I'm very happy to help you with those
Yeah,
conversations. So, but we'll let you know if you're nearing the usage. We'll let you know. We'll help
yeah.
get the emails out there, but they'll help drive that conversation a little bit more. But like we
Sharice,
said, it's a positive conversation here for us.
Sharice is killing me. I must be careful as I have expensive taste in models. Same. Quad Opus. All right.
Same.
Um, Lynette, I'll answer that in the chat. We'll move on to the phone agent.
Cool. Alrighty. So I can't remember who it was, and I wanted to write it down last week. Somebody was like, hello, let's talk about Adele. So I stole that and said, hello, Adele improvements. Alrighty. So our team um did again great UI improvements. If you built a phone agent or you've used the phone agent since it's been basically since its inception, like every time we talk about it, we're always building off of how to make them easier to build. So this is kind of the next iteration of that. So our phone agent, both the building workflow and the editing, this is an example of editing. The UI has been vastly improved. Instead of, endless scrolling down to the bottom of the page or trying to find a specific spot of what you're looking for. Our engineers have made it very easy to follow along in these tabs. So if you're looking at the prompts, the voice, the call settings, what the email looks like, it's much easier to figure out what you want to tweak and manipulate in the editor. The setup wizard is also improved, but from here, the editor looks great, is easier to use. I will say too, we released a fix to phone agent call transfers, which adjusted them to prevent loops in the beginning of the call and also just keep the calls flowing more naturally. So there were a few partners that had reached out with some feedback about the transfers. And I'm not sure if he's on, but Alex, our phone agent, master engineer, wizard, whatever you want to call him, it went in and kind of cleaned that up. And we love to say on this call, use AI to use AI. We also added this great feature where you can have AI help you update or generate the opener message and the system prompt. This is a really cool feature. We went in and tweaked our internal phone agents with it last night and this morning. It will basically let you put in however you would like to tweak the message. So for this one, That's the example. A friendly greeting for a dental office that mentions how we can help with appointments, right? You would type in, you can tell the AI the tone that you want, anything that you kind of want included. Click generate, and AI will give you a recommendation and populate it as either your opening message or your system prompt. I know some partners were kind of going into chat and tweaking it in chat and then going back and forth. So this was a really great improvement.
And I just want to say on this, a lot of the questions that I was getting on use case workshops about phone agent system prompts, um, that can kind of be solved with this. You know, we got rid of those templates that with improvements to the LLMs, improvements to the way the phone agent code worked, the actual system prompts like needed to be updated a lot. This works better. You can just kind of tell it what you want and it'll write that system prompt and you can keep testing and changing it without having to like, you know, mess around with, well, this line and oh, let me add this. It'll just write it for you. So you can still, of course, come to use case workshops to help get these phone agents configured the right way. But this should take a lot of that initial setup off of your hands and just, you know, the setup for a phone agent goes from, you know, 30 minutes to like 3 minutes maybe.
Yeah. Just another feature where we replace Mark with AI.
More to come.
Lark Meeper, Lark Meeper, AI workshop assistant, and now
Yeah,
your opener message and system prompt.
no issues with that.
Alrighty. So this is actually not the end of our new features. We're going to keep going, but this just felt like the natural place to talk about the 365 all-in-one integration. I think this is our third week talking about this, and I promise that you'd be sick of hearing me say this. But the Excel, Teams, OneDrive, and SharePoint integrations are now combined all into one super powerful, super great Microsoft 365 integration, which also includes Outlook as well. But this was the Outlook tool. So, calling this out, why do we want to switch to the Microsoft 365 integration? For various reasons, but basically, this is just a better, faster, more efficient way to access all of the Microsoft tools that you would have gotten from the previous integrations. We're going to kind of double click into this even more, but the Excel, Teams, OneDrive, and SharePoint integrations still exist. If you have agents or workflows that were referencing them, they are still referencing these old integrations. But switch them over. The new tool it's just better. It's faster, more efficient, and has access to the same tools you were comfortable with in the other integrations. So make the switch and try out the new integration. Alrighty, Mark, let's go to the next here. So the reason we want to talk about Microsoft O365 with code execution is because they both have expanded functionality on tools that we know and love. So code execution, if you logged in this morning and we're looking for Python code interpreter, code execution has replaced the Python code interpreter tool. Basically, all you need to know about code execution is that it's faster, smarter, and the sandbox stays active longer. Also, this code execution tool, unlike Python code interpreter, is no longer limited to just Python. It's just a code sandbox that can run anything. When that was explained to me, I was kind of like, I don't really know what that means, and I'm not really sure if I would care. I don't necessarily know if you care either, but it is just a key call out that code execution is just a improvement to Python code interpreter. Now, you may be asking, Jesse, right away, you may be asking, why am I talking about the new great code execution tool with Microsoft 365? And Mark, if you go to the next slide, it's because Python code interpreter, right, gone from tools, is now code execution. Mark, one more slide, sorry. We are sunsetting Python code interpreter as well. So basically, what does this mean, right? Teams, Excel, OneDrive and SharePoint, and Python code interpreter. What happens to these tools today? Absolutely nothing. If you have a workflow, if you have an agent, if you have something that's leveraging any of these tools, literally nothing happens today. They will operate as expected. You will still be able to see the tools as expected. However, on February 5th, 2026, which is crazy that that is not that far away, those tools will go away. You actually cannot access Python code interpreter for new workflows right now. But all of those tools will be gone, which means your existing workflows or agents that are leveraging them will not work on February 5th. So what should you do next? Modify your existing workflows and agents that reference these tools to the new tools. You have until February 5th, but you know, it's holiday time. We're cleaning up. We're cleaning out. We have all of this great new visibility in the admin dashboard to kind of look at our own workshop items, to look at our customers' workshop items. Go in, switch them out. There's no need to not. There's no need to do it today, but there's no reason not to do it today. We're trying to get to there. Encourage your new users to default to the Microsoft O365 tool. You actually don't have to encourage your new users to default to the Python code interpreter tool because it's the code execution tool because Python code interpreter no longer exists. And it is gone from the tool selector. So new agents and workflows will have to use code execution anyway. Mark, if we can go to the next slide. We will pull a report of workflows and agents using these tools, and communication is coming in the new year. As we've talked about this every single week, we seem to get the question, okay, we know we have to switch, but can you help us identify either internally or for our end customers who's using those tools and who will be impacted? As promised, in the new year, we will get tons of communication out to the admins of your tenant and for your end customers to know who is still leveraging those tools and who needs to make the switch and the cutover. So Mark, if we could just go back 2 more slides, because I don't want to power through this too much. Python code interpreter, now code execution. The engineering team very graciously kept the word code in there and kept the same little icon. So when I was clicking through this morning and working on generating a PDF, I actually didn't even realize that I was just selecting a different tool. The only thing that you need to note is that you will have to change anything existing that leverages that tool, just like Microsoft 365. We will send out ample communication about it, not only to our partners, but things you can repurpose for your end customers, a little context as to why we did it, but simplified, faster, better, more efficient, smarter, like everything the engineering team here at Hats does. So we'll continue to talk about these until February 5th. By February 3rd, the slide will come up and you will all roll your eyes, hopefully, because we will have been long gone from the switch. But any additional questions or concerns you have, feel free to reach out to Lark Meeper. And if Lark can't help you, someone on the support team will jump in and help answer any questions. Alrighty. So that I talked a lot today. That is the end of kind of our new features. So if we're looking at it from a high level, what we do, we worked to give our partners more visibility, not only into their own tenants, but also into their end customers' tenants, their activity. And really, our goal was to give our partners not only visibility, but the feeling of control through, the new UI, through new features, through exposing more data. We want to give our partners everything that we can to not only help them be successful in leveraging the platform, but help them be successful in bringing on all of their end customers in the new year and making sure that everybody feels like they are being fully supported by the platform. Sorry, I see some questions jumping in here, and if I know we're getting really tight on time, so I don't know, Mark, if you've been following along, if there's anything you think we should highlight,
Um,
or if most of these are follow-ups, but
yeah, let me just like rinse through these really quick.
yeah.
Anyone who has questions about the phone agent pricing, there were a lot of questions about that. Phone agent pricing is an additional cost for MSPs. You can use it internally and then you can resell it to your clients. You just choose the tenant that it goes into, just like you would with any workshop item. If you are curious about what that pricing is, we try not to talk about the pricing on here because these go on YouTube. Um, you can just go into, I think Mike Hoffman listed out all the steps to go into admin, billing, then click on, purchase a package. You don't actually have to purchase the package. It just shows you what the costs are. You can look at phone agent and it tells you what your buy price is. You can create one then and go through the process of that. And then you can, if you want to, sell it to one of your clients, you can just add it to their tenant. That's how that works. The questions about we had some questions about integrations and what they can do. We're working on something. I was trying to do it for Hatsmiths, kind of didn't get it in time. But similar to the LLM guide, like an integration guide that would be a living, breathing document about some common use cases with the integrations, what tool calls they have, the common ones, the most helpful ones, and then how you can actually like turn those into workflows and agents. So that will be coming maybe on Christmas, who knows? But we're gonna have that out at some point. But if there are like really specific use cases, specific things that you want these integrations to do or you're curious about, first of all, you can ask AI. Just turn on the integration and ask it if it's possible and how it would work. And then second, you can just send us a message like, "Hey, can you, let us know if this is possible or how this would work?" And we can take a look, or I can take a look. I think we covered most of the other questions. Like Ali said, we do go through these chat histories afterward uh, and follow up to anyone we need to. So if we missed anything, we apologize.
Yeah, we've got all of six. Oh, we're at time, but check out the usage dashboard. Check out the whole admin. Log in, click around, give us your feedback. We the engineering team is on this call, so shout out to them for a great final release. This is not our last Feature Friday. We will be doing Flashback
Oh,
Friday next Friday. And oh, there we go. We will be
yeah.
doing Flashback Friday. We know it's the day after Christmas, so don't feel like you have to get on. But if you want to get on, Mark and I will be here, and Kelsey, I think Kelsey will be here. All three of us will definitely be here. We'll be going through, some of our favorite features of the year, some highlights for us, and then also too, as always, Lark Meeper is ready to answer all of your requests, especially during the holiday time. Our support team is here, during business hours, but Lark Meek, can we be drunk at eggnog? That's funny, Daniel. But Lark Meeper is always here to support. So please leverage all of our channels, all of our platforms, especially if, like Mark and I, you will be playing around in the Hats platform, preparing for the new year.
All right.
Alrighty. Well, have a happy holiday, everyone. Like I said, we'll be here next Friday if you want to chat with us. And if not, we'll see you in the new year.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.